So Miami, the last few years have been known for getting, one of the top quarterbacks in the portal. 2 years ago it was Cam Ward from Incarnate Word. Last year it was Carson Beck from Georgia. This year it's going to be Darian Mensah from Duke University, and he's bringing along his top wide receiver Cooper Barcake as well with him. So I'm curious what we all our opinion on that. I know Jordan has a point about NIL, so I'll let you go ahead and make that point, Jordan.
So the the word is, and I don't know if this is official. I think this is official that Miami is paying Darian Mensah $10 million in NIL. Which, first off, let me just say that's absolutely ridiculous. I think there should be a salary cap on this thing. No college kid should ever have access to that much money, and I mean ever. Um, and what's crazy is that they're paying the University of Miami is paying his sister to come play soccer at the school, and they're paying her $5 million, which is just again absolutely absurd. So I know Evan had a reaction, so I'll let him just talk about that.
That second 5 million for a soccer player. I mean, I'm sure she's good, but holy crap. No, it more than doubled. Like, because Carson Beck, I believe his salary was 4 million this past year. So 10 million, 10, and there was all those stats about how like Carson Beck was making more than Brock Purdy, Caleb Williams, all these NFL quarterbacks. Imagine how much more money Darian Mensah is going to be making than all these NFL quarterbacks. Like that's insane. Anyways, I have some thoughts with the contract and stuff. I'll save that for a little later in the topic. I first of all, completely on, him as a player. I think this is a great fit. He's already used to the ACC schedule. Sometimes what you get some transfers from like group of five schools, which is where Menza started. He started at Tulane, but they don't completely adjust to, a tougher schedule, a Power Five schedule. So that's great that he's coming from the ACC. And also, what I like about Menza in college football, you have tons of running quarterbacks. Nothing wrong with that, of course. It's good to be athletes. But I like that Menza is sort of a pure passer. He doesn't run a lot. I believe he even had negative rushing yards this past season, but you've seen the growth with him. You've seen he threw 22 touchdowns at Tulane in 2024, and now up to 34 touchdowns this past season. Doesn't turn it over a lot. I just like that he's a pure passer. And again, nothing against Carson Beck. This is sort of like Miami's like, if you could compare it to the Chiefs, like Carson Beck was the Alex Smith, and then Menza might be the Patrick Mahomes, and I'm sure that's what Jake's hoping for. But again, just more of a pure passer, not going to rely on the run like Carson Beck does, scramble around and just try for luck, I feel like. So I do like that from Menza. And I have a little bit more on the whole like contract situation, but I'll let Jake weigh in first on how he feels about this move.
Yeah, so Ariana is like in my pillow. So it looks like I will not be using that pillow tonight.
First of all, wait,
Um,
really quick, happy birthday, Ariana. 3 years old, by the way. Yep.
it was Ariana's third birthday yesterday, so happy birthday to Ariana. And she did get ice cream. She did get treat, just so you know.
Very good.
But yeah, no, obviously Darian and Mensah coming to Miami, obviously big, getting arguably the best quarterback in the portal 3 years in a row. Hats off to Mario Cristobal for that. Um Darian Mensah, obviously threw for 4,000 yards last year at Duke under Manny Diaz as his head coach. Um, I think it was like 31 touchdowns to five interceptions, if I'm correct on that.
I think it was
He also
34,
brings.
34 touchdowns to 6 picks, I believe. Yep, which is amazing.
Oh, okay. So there's a little fact check. I appreciate that, Evan.
Well,
Um,
I'm just giving you better numbers. Those are even better numbers, hyping up the
yeah,
quarterback.
that's true. That is better numbers. That is a better touchdown and interception ratio. So Gary Mensah brings his number one wide receiver from Duke over to Miami, Connor Barkley. Hey, I'm sorry, mispronounced that a little bit. Obviously, he pairs with Malachi Tony. Both had over 1,000 receiving seasons last year. Um, Bobcat Tate was Mensah's number one target, obviously. Him coming over with Malachi Tony. I think Malachi Tony might share the targets with him, but feel like there's no reason for, both of them to not get over 1,000 yards this season. And also, Miami is returning star running back Mark Fletcher, who also had over 1,000 rushing yards last season. So maybe he can get over 1,000 rushing yards this season. We will see. But if he does, I don't think anybody's going to stop that offense.
Yeah, no, I would say and you know, yeah, I think Mensa's a great pickup. The whole contract thing is a little bit interesting how that was going on. Like North Carolina courts trying to sue because he made a deal with an NIL deal with North Carolina, and now he's leaving for Miami. And the court sided with Miami on this one, right, Jake? Or how did that work out?
Yes.
Okay, they did. They sided with him being able to transfer. Um, I would like to see him at a minimum honor his UNC contract. This is a quarterback who's going to get paid 10 million this year. And then obviously they go to the NFL to make a boatload of money. Maybe you can somehow pay that back to UNC. I would like to see that. A little bit of repercussions, but I do also like seeing the portal work this way. If a top draft pick coming up in the future is going to work out that way, such as Menza, that might be a big deal. So I do like seeing the portal work for the stars a little bit, like we explained a couple weeks ago. But maybe you can pay back some of that money. But yeah, Jake, what were you gonna say?
So let's break this deadline down just a tad for Gary and Mensah and Duke. So Gary and Mensah on the night before the national championship officially entered his name into the portal. Duke was like, "Oh, well, you can't do this. We're gonna file a lawsuit against you." They file a lawsuit against their own quarterback. It goes to a North Carolina judge. North Carolina judge favors in rule of Mensa that Duke has to let Mensa um enter his name into the portal, but he cannot sign with a team until February 2nd because of that pending lawsuit with Duke. They can't, and he can't sign with another team until they have another hearing. Duke drops said lawsuit against Mensa, pays him out. Mensa is free to sign with the team, officially commits to Miami, a team he had been eyeing since he entered the portal in the first place.
Right. So
Yeah,
Jordan?
so
it worked out. Yeah.
I just think that there might have been tampering in the situation. I know Jake doesn't, think there was. I honestly do not know if there was. I don't know if that's true. That when he did officially put his name, that is the first time Miami contacted him. I have no clue, but let's be honest, tampering doesn't mean anything in college football nowadays. Teams do it all the time. There are no repercussions at all. It's just out. It's just astounding to see what era we're in college football now. That's
Right.
just
Yeah, normal tampering, nobody's going to do anything about that. Jordan's absolutely right. It does. I do think it depends on how bad it was, but I'm not seeing it being super bad here. It just seems like normal tampering with one of the best quarterbacks in college football right now. Nothing, absolutely zero is going to come of it. So,
Yeah,
well,
I mean, I think there was some tampering. I think that, you know, Mensa has his name in the portal. Miami contacts him. He's still technically under contract with Duke, but Miami feels like they should be free to contact Mensa because his name's in the portal. They have they probably don't have any idea that Duke is going to file a lawsuit against Darian Mensah.
no, they probably don't. But one thing I wanted to bring up really quick was on November 14th, Darian Mensah and Cooper Bartek will be facing off against, Duke. Um, so I just find that interesting. But as for Miami's schedule as a whole, if I can bring that up real quick, is that okay, Jake, Evan?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so they start off with Stanford on a Friday. I'm guessing that's going to be a night game. Going across the country, that's always hard to do. They come home, face Florida A&M. That should be an easy win there. Go on the road to Winston-Salem, face Wake Forest. Come home, play Central Michigan. On the road at Clemson, which is, right now we look at, oh, well, Miami's going to roll, but we'll see what we'll see what progresses in the off season, and then they get a bye week. They come home, face Florida State, rivalry game. I think that game's always close. Florida State's going to give everything they have in that game. They face Pitt, North Carolina, Notre Dame, back-to-back road games. The aforementioned Duke, Virginia Tech is either going to be played on Friday the 20th or Saturday the 21st of November, and then they end the season with Boston College at home. I know Jake was talking about who's going to stop this offense. They're going 12-0, all that. But can I just say it's very hard to go 12-0 in college football, especially with the parity that you have now. I mean, we just saw Indiana win the national championship. Okay, Indiana entered the season as the team with the most losses in college football history all time. So, yeah, we just saw Indiana win the national title. So I think that speaks to that.
Okay, so the thing I will bring up here is everyone alludes to, oh, Miami's got it easy. Miami's got an easy schedule. They're going to roll next season. You know, you can call on easy schedule, but really, when it gets down to the nitty and gritty, it's not an easy schedule when you go week to week. And I'll even go as far as, a lot of people say Notre Dame's got an easy schedule every single year. It might not be as easy for them to travel to schools, play them, travel home, travel to a new school, play them. You know, I feel like sometimes the opponents are not, as big as other opponents, but I feel like the travel, getting ready for the game, actually playing the game, it does take a toll on these college athletes, and it can be tough sometimes.
Yeah, I was gonna say almost Manny Diaz. Maybe he should come along and join Miami again as like a coordinator position, just because they're looking pretty stacked. I think, and I said this before the
Defensive
show.
coordinator in 2016, turnover chain.
Yeah, pretty
Shoot,
impressive.
you might as well.
Yeah,
Quarterback one, wide receiver one.
at
They're
this
down
point,
there
it
in
might be
the
better.
South.
Yeah, it might. I was gonna say it might be a better situation for him than Duke, but although Duke is a pretty decent team too, but just that goes to show how stacked Miami is. Looking at the schedule, I do think Miami is going to be a playoff team next year. That I will go out on a limb and say that I think they're too stacked to miss it. We'll see if they can win it all, run the table. Well, that's far out, but I do think they'll be a playoff team. Looking at this is a pretty. It's still a power four schedule. Don't get me wrong, but like it,
It's
it
manageable though.
that's the perfect word for it. It's not weak, but it's manageable. Clemson, I don't trust until they cannot manage the portal to save their lives right now. Until they've done it, I respect Dabo and all that, but until they've done it, Miami's going to win that game. The three games on that schedule that I'm looking at, FSU at home. FSU's had their own struggles, but I think this is it for Norvell. They've got to win. This coming year. So if I think they're good. FSU's going to be playing hard. We'll see if that elaborates to anything. But FSU's a big game. Going to South Bend, that's always going to be tough. And then I think that Duke game. Duke is a pretty solid team too. So those would be the three games I would look at if I'm Miami trying to go undefeated. It's like, how can we win those three?
Now, I know Stanford, like we think of Stanford, like, oh, they're awful. But can I just say, and I believe I alluded to this when I was talking about the schedule, but just going across the country is just never easy. And like I said, I believe that's going to be a Friday night, probably. So road game, Friday night. Miami's going to be highly ranked, likely in the preseason. So I mean, I would not be shocked at all if Stanford played close, maybe somehow pull off a miracle and won that game. But I mean, I would right now lean Miami. I would not pick them to go 12-0. I feel like they're going to lose a game to either UNC, Notre Dame, maybe Florida State, Clemson, maybe. Um, I would pick them to go 10-2 at the worst right now. We'll have to see what progresses in the offseason these next few months, but I would pick them to go 10-2 at the worst right now.